Well, hello everybody, and welcome back. I'm Random Randy, and today I'm gonna get back into some old worldy kind of stuff. I want to take a look at a few things, but first, please note the fair use for some of the items in this video. Now, what I want to discuss with you guys is mechanisms, mainly a mechanism for how we got to where we are today, and basically the evolution of this world, right? We see evidence, for giant trees. We see evidence of possibly some kind of like Victorian steampunk culture, or at least a very highly advanced culture that existed in this world in the past that we are now building on top of after some form of event, right? So there's a lot of disagreement as to what that event is or was. I want to say thank you for joining me on this journey. Anyhow, what we're going to look at today is the Little Ice Age. Okay. And just the story of ice ages, what they may possibly mean, just some theories on that. And are these ice ages or these different periods of time that we're taught about in school, are these covering up some form of a larger which would kind of insinuate or, bring it to the world of creative design, and intelligent design. So, whatever your belief system happens to be as far as that goes, I think that there is, like we were talking about earlier, a mechanism behind the things that are happening that we're just not allowed to essentially know about. We're not the ones telling people, we're not the ones covering up. So we're on the other side of this table. These folks like to think that they have all of the information, and they probably do have the real story of this realm's past. Now, is that being extended to us via things like popular culture? Possibly, and we'll get into that here in just a second. But anyway, what was the Little Ice Age? Um, you know, Much like this says, and you feel free to pause and read through this if you'd like. But basically, we were all taught that the Ice Age was woolly mammoths and so on, 2.5 million years ago, etc. And what was a Little Ice Age then? Now, the Little Ice Age supposedly lasted from the early 14th century through the mid 19th century. So this is a period of time where we have strange changes in maps, lots of areas, not existing on the map of America. Um, some very many inconsistencies on cartography as well as history. There's a only a couple different sides of the story. We have kind of the Genghis Khan, and we have the medieval side of the story, medieval England. That's really about it. We don't learn too much about Africa. Um, we're all just supposed to believe and understand that that's where, African Americans came from. But why would they be calling them American at the same time? So that doesn't make sense. There's, a theory that the different cultures come from nowhere near where they presently are today. So that would mean we have a longer history than we're really allowed to understand. Um, so we could be talking indefinite, the history of humanity. And when I say humanity, it doesn't necessarily mean this version, right? I feel like there have been a lot of different versions to accommodate different atmospheric, conditions, different things going on, mining, etc. I've got a video up on mining. It's called Quarry Earth. Go take a look. It explains a lot of the process that's going on. Now, one of these mechanisms might be time, okay, which is something that we can't really see living a day at a time. We really can't see the mechanism of time. We can't see, like in the videos on the canyons that I've done, we can't see what has happened slowly over time. We just see the end result. So that leads to some fanciful thoughts. Thoughts like, are there buried cities everywhere in the world, and so on? Which, there seem to be, right? There seems to be a previous civilization before us. Um, Now, was that civilization alive and kicking through this little ice age, right? And you can go take a look on the little ice age. There's a lot of stuff. Is it low sunspot activity? Is it volcanic eruptions? Or in the theory we're going to look at today, was it induced by a people that were existing at that time? Not the medieval, European or medieval Spanish folks that we commonly understand, horse and buggy, ship on the ocean, so on. But was there a larger, more advanced civilization that some now are being led to believe is Tartaria? We'll get into what the details on why that could and could not be Tartaria, what the control system is, and so on, probably a little later. But I want to focus on human induced cold spells, right? Why is there such a big push of this concept that humanity will run away with itself, much like in Snowpiercer, right? And this is the TV show, if I'm not mistaken, which I mean it was okay, but the movie was really great. I recommend it, but it's just suggesting that there is a control, structure that maybe is running things, much like in Snowpiercer. There's Wilford, I think his name is, and he runs this perpetual motion machine that is this train. Now, is our world a perpetual motion machine of sorts, right? I think that that could be a big missing factor. There's a lot going on. I mean, when people do ayahuasca and things, they see these things called the clockwork elves, behind the scenes pulling strings. Is our world a perpetual motion machine? Were the Tartarian infrastructure tapping into that motion through the ether? Okay. And is that being misunderstood as spinning in a ball? Possibly, right? So they come up with this stuff, this cryo agent called CW7. Okay. And they lower the Earth's temperature. Okay. But then this chemical has a much harsher result than expected, huge drop in temperature, dropping like super low, negative 120. Okay. Now we don't have records of, things, happening during this little ice age. We're just told a little bit about it. We don't really have valid records until about the 1800s, which is strange in itself. We hear a lot about libraries burning and that sort of thing, like tons about it. But what I want to look at is then on the other side of things, guys, we have scientists openly looking to chemtrails to cool planet Earth. So I feel like these people know, you know what I mean? These people know that this stuff is functional. Has it gotten out of control in the past? Did they max it out? And first of all, did they have to cause this cooling because of an inadvertent heating going on, right? Due to, you know, possibly cities looking something like this, being steampunk oriented, or was the climate cold because all of these aerials and things that they're using, you know? Sorry about this. I should have had it up, but I didn't. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you guys about this a little bit. Now, in the mental visualization of Tartaria that most people have, it is, a land very similar to, say, this. Okay. And there's some renditions that have tons of aerials sticking out of all of the buildings. And I'm trying to find one for you guys. I had them pulled up. I wasn't expecting to talk really about Tartaria too much right now. Um, Here it is. So let's say they were using atmospheric energy, right? Like seems to be the kind of running consensus on this Tartaria thing. They're using aerials to extract energy from the ether, within which, in a flat Earth model at least, right? or in an electric universe model. Let's use that, okay? Because it's probably a little bit more founded, right? So, in an electric universe model, the sun is a part of this ether, right? This web of energy. Now, if they are drawing energy in to power devices, to power mechanisms that create motion, thereby transferring that energy, are they drawing on this energy from things like the sun? If they were drawing that much energy, a hypothesis would be, did the sun dim? And did that dimming of the sun kind of become offset by the steam being generated in these places? Because they were also having to heat and everything else. I think we have an idea that Tartaria was all electric, no moving parts, no usage of oil and fuels. And I think that that's a big mistake. I think that the use of oil, petrol, goes way back, further than we understand. Keep in mind that in California, up until about the 1800s, oil was found laying around, all right, until they decided, no, we're going to put a cap on this and, create a monopoly and run everything and only allow folks to use that kind of energy. I think it was a union of different types of energy. Okay. We had ethereal electrical energy, which was probably used for lighting and things like this. But then we also have an oil based mechanical energy, which is a huge driver of industry. So, these are just thoughts. These would cause changes in the environment that it seems like these people running things today, they understand these changes and they push scare tactics on us because they know these changes happen. They've learned from a past of experiencing this, and they have the information because they keep it within their circles. Okay. So none of the Tartaria subject is a far cry from what could be, what could have happened. Of course, it's beginning to be spun in such a fanciful way as most folks will not consider it even a legitimate thing, right? We paint this picture like this, that this is what Tartaria is, when, really this is a fanciful ideology of what something could be. Now, keep in mind, to make a city like this work, you would have to have the people to do it. Where did all those people go? Is another big problem with the hypothesis of a overcultivated, overpopulated Earth existing in the past. The only story we're given anything close to that is the story of the flood. Now that brings the idea that the flood did not happen that long ago, but I think there was something in between the flood that we understand as Noah's and today. So, what is that? One theory is a freeze, a deep freeze, right? Now, are we on our way to causing this again? Is history cyclical? You've all seen these chemtrails, right, guys? Everywhere in the sky. Noticing a really toasty 80-degree day drop instantly to 60 after you see this in the sky. So they know what they're doing with this stuff, right? It hasn't gotten out of control. Had it gotten out of control in the past, though, were they using more volatile chemicals? Is this why the big push for chemistry everywhere around the world? And that, tying into the land of chem being ancient Egypt, also tying into Enochian philosophy and things like that. So there's a lot to this, guys. Um, I hate to bore you with the details of what this control system is, but Egypt, Rome, the New World Order, it's all the same thing. Okay. It's the man, right? But anyway, so, I just wanted to bring that to you guys and see what you think. Was there a mechanism for this little ice age? And was that mechanism people driven by the one world, or O around a W? So like there's symbolism and everything, guys. You're gonna take from it what you feel and what you'd like. Um, I'm just mentioning what I'm seeing. So go take a look at Snowpiercer rather. Go take a look at like Geostorm and all these things. Why are they pushing this concept on us so hard? Did it happen in the past? Is time cyclical? And you know, Is time cyclical? Are we doing this over and over again, like in an infinite loop? Um, is this possibly why, when you look at things like Michelle Gibson's work, and shout out to her, she's doing amazing stuff, nailing down the details of this Earth grid. So this thing exists, guys. Go take a look at Piercing the Veil of Illusion. She's got videos on YouTube. She's got a huge blog, which is just epic, right? So it's a very coherent group of information. Dude, this thing is tied together seamlessly. So there was definitely a culture here. Was it Moorish? Was it Tartarian? What was it? I think I'm inclined to lead more towards a Moorish, but not any one ideology. This culture, okay, this culture was the fusion of so many for so long that uh, maybe these people in charge decided, hey, we need to split these people back up again. They're getting too coherent, or we were fighting back. Things happen, like I mentioned in the John Jacob Astor video I have up here, where there's an air war, right? Go take a look at that one too. That's another theory, is that they're telling us these things. They're telling us through the stories that we are allowed to consume, and they thereby don't feel compelled to give us the real story, or even say, they're spinning this ancient alien thing, which is fine. Sure, I'm sure there's some degree of that that's true, because in every good story there's a degree of truth. um, but I just try to step back outside of everything and really see what's going on, see where people are being led. I'm curious as to why the algorithm recommended one of my recent videos so highly to so many people. Having to do, my opinion is that this is having to do because it's theories that are already included in the new narrative, which is coming out to you folks through things like stolen history, the Tartaria movement, and so on, right? What it is an overload of information that's meant to confuse you, to confound you, right? The Nuss Confunden map with all of the different little flat earths and everything, right? It's meant to confound you. It's meant to make you so confused to not even care and just accept their story. But, I accepted the story for a long time. I bought into the aliens, the demons, the angels, like all these different things. And at the end of the day, I look at it all and I go, wow, these are all just amazing stories. And I think that that's what this place is for, is to imagine what we can and possibly create that. And I think that that's a divine thing, however you want to look at that. Our abilities to create are amazing, God given, right? Uh, but we all kind of have to take ownership of our own ability to create and use it. And that's what I'm doing here. So, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. That was a little long-winded there at the end, but hopefully you guys can relate. Let me know what you think. Throw some stuff in the comments. If you have any suggestions on theories or what may be going on in this realm or has gone on, it's an open book. We're writing it, guys. Like, let's make it our own. Let's add to it some feeling, as opposed to just doom and gloom, right? Because it's okay if there is a past. It's okay if things happened and people learned from them. It would be nice if we knew about it, but we can speculate, we can talk about it, we can create theories and thoughts on this subject and really change the paradigm. It just takes one of us at a time doing something special to ourselves that changes everything. It'll at least change your own perception when you do creative things for yourself. So that being said, much love to everybody out there, and thank you for tuning in, and I hope this finds you well.